My next guest is one of the newest members of the UFC's middleweight roster, getting it done on Dana White's Contender Series a week ago today. It is Torrez Finney joining me here on the program. Torrez, how's it going, man?
How you doing today, James? Hey, man, thank you for having me on the show. I've done multiple of these. I always love being on here. Thank you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. And it's good to talk to you now, especially with the news that we found out last week you are a part of the UFC. Has it sunk in yet? You had one of the harder roads to get to the UFC. Have you been able to enjoy the fact that you're on the roster now?
Yes, sir. I am. I would say that, having this journey in this type of fashion has definitely made the finally getting here that much sweeter. But I told people, even after the fight, I was like, man, it felt like I've already been in UFC when you fight this many times on a Contender Series. Yeah. Going through the walk, going through the whole process, the gear, the training, the fight week. I mean, the only thing is, I know that the actual UFC fight week has a lot more things you have to do throughout the week. But man, it just felt like I was already there. That's why the third time I felt so comfortable walking in the cage.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel that much of a pressure anyway.
Well, I got to ask, and I'm sure, I know you were asked this, I'm sure, going into the fight or whatever, but how did you deal with the criticism from Dana White, which listen, I know you're in the UFC now. I don't think if you say anything here, he's going to rescind the contract, but it was pretty harsh. He was kind of like, I don't think he's UFC. He basically said you weren't UFC caliber. Like, how did you deal with that criticism? Because it's not just coming from a fan, it's coming from the boss. How did you overcome that and get that out of your mind as you went into the fight?
Well, as I told a lot of people before, right after that even happened, I was like, man, I've dealt with a criticism before, and the way I took it as a challenge, as doubt.
Yeah.
And I was like, challenge me and doubt me. That makes me work even harder. And now, to be honest with you, I did not see myself having a third fight on the show. Because after he said that, I didn't think the door was closed, but I just felt like, oh, they don't want me right now, and that's the reason why I was on the path of going a different direction to another promotion. I literally was on the verge of signing with a different promotion until I got that call the following week. We had been in talks and everything, and then I get a call out of nowhere from my management team, and they're like, "Have you signed a contract yet?" I said, "Not yet." They were, they're supposed to send it today.
And wow. Like, well, okay, it was that close. Interesting. So you almost had the paperwork.
Yes. Like, I'll never forget that day. I had went to sleep, and when I woke up, I saw this tweet that said, "Bet on yourself." And I was thinking about the fact that, okay, I might have bet on myself by signing with this promotion and doing my thing. It was tweeted by Michael Chandler. I go to sleep. I wake up to a phone call. Management team calling me, Malky. He was like, "Hey, have you signed that contract yet?" I said, "No, not yet." And he said, "I got one opportunity for you. Tell them I'm about to hear what you think. One opportunity." I said, "There's only one promotion that could stop me from signing what I'm about to sign," because it was really, really good financially as well. And man, hey, I said, all right, then, 25 years old, I'm 9-0 on the, trying to go to 10-0, be the first one ever to win, be 3-0 in the Contender Series. I just felt like it all synced well, and the story really mattered to me. So I was like, you know what? Let's take this chance. I felt like it was a calculated risk, and it definitely paid off.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know all that sort of going in, which is really interesting. Bet on yourself, and the bet paid off. And again, a first round finish, you don't get paid by the hour. They look for finishes on the show. Could the fight have gone any better in your opinion, or was it, is there anything you kind of look back like, man, I wish I would have done that?
Well, if I am a little mad that the head and arm, because I finished. That's one of my favorite moves, and I could have gotten off on the side. I was in mount, and I should have sagged off, but I felt like I finished in the mount because I heard him gurgling. For a quick minute, I thought I felt him tap, but it was just like a place on the shoulder. But no, because I wanted the trifecta. The game plan going in was to get the ground and pound finish, because I wanted to say I won by knockout, I won by submission, and I won by decision. I won every possible way that you can win on the Contender Series. So yeah. Unless you want qualification, win by that. But, it's like I won every possible way. So how am I not ready? And then you think about it, I won in the first round, I won in the second round, and obviously going to decision, we had to go to the third round. So I showed I could do it every round, yeah. So every round, every possible way to win, I felt like I deserved it. So yeah, looking back, probably just finish faster, but I felt like it went about as perfect as we can make it.
Confidence level of getting the contract after the finish, were you certain you had it, or was there still doubt? Because you never know, right? Because you're still competing with other people on the show.
I was pretty confident. If anything, obviously I'll always hope for everybody on the show to get the contract, which we did. Mm-hmm. But I was like, as long as I wanted to be the only one on the show, which I was, to have a first round finish.
Yeah.
So like you can't have the only guy on the show with a first round finish and not get it. But I was really confident, when he sent one of his assistants in the back to, get my family's name, Dana wants your family's name and stuff like that. I already knew I was going to get it. So
Yeah.
I also knew I wasn't going to get it the last time. So when I was fought Cam, I texted my manager. I said, "Man, I know this isn't too pretty." He said, "It's not looking too good." So
Yeah. Okay.
I knew it, but I just didn't know what Dana was going to come out there and say, to be honest with you. But the second time, I was really confident after this one.
How did you celebrate after getting the contract? Did you get to enjoy yourself that night, or was it just like I'm just exhausted, just get me to bed?
Yeah, I actually did go out. We went and enjoyed ourselves throughout Vegas. After being in Vegas so many times, not only with just me, but with my teammate Trevor Peak. I've seen Vegas a good bit at this point. So, but we went around in Vegas. Me, some of my family went and ate. We enjoyed it. I'm gonna take a little bit of a vacation coming up soon. But yeah, I'm already back to work. I trained yesterday, so nothing too crucial. No bumps or bruises. So the fight went quick. It's more of like stuff I'm still healing up with from camp.
Yeah.
So besides that, man, we're just going to continue to keep getting better and work on skill development until the calls come.
So you're thinking next year to make that debut? I know, the UFC kind of is, filling out their schedule for the rest of the year, but do you have kind of an ideal time when you'd like to have that UFC debut?
Yeah, I do. My goal is to hopefully have it around March or April,
Okay.
to come out. Hopefully, get back in there. Like I said, my goal every year is to try to at least have 3 fights on the year. And yeah, to be able to get step in the cage, man, to finally have that debut. Hopefully it's in one of those arenas. Because I don't heard that the Apex was going to be closed. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, no, that's the rumor. Yeah, you're right. Because they're doing construction.
Yeah, reconstruction. So hopefully they're still reconstructing around that time. So a brother could get one of those arenas. But overall, man, yeah, anytime. Heck, I'm so familiar with Apex. I'm so familiar with Vegas and everything. So yeah, I'm really excited to step back in there when the time comes.
Any opponents you're looking at? I know you're just getting in the UFC, probably not in a position to call anyone out, but do you look at any fights in the weight class, maybe some fellow Contender Series winners or anything like that, and you think that would be a fun matchup?
Yeah, there's a few that I look at, but I don't really, whatever's there really. Like I'm really confident just about against majority of the middleweights. Like I've seen myself compete with really good middleweights. Obviously, I've had opportunities to train at Extreme Couture with Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis and Michelle Pereira and all those guys, and a lot of even other high level guys in other weight classes. And I definitely know I belong. So whatever they throw at me, I know I'm 100% confident I'll be able to go out there and compete, and not only compete but get the win.
And I know down the line, I know you said this in other interviews, Bo Nickel, I know, is a fight you won at some point, right?
Yes, it is. That's a fight I feel would definitely come in the horizon. I don't know when, because he fights sporadically. I think he's only had, how many fights he's had in UFC? He's had
it's like
3.
one a year almost. And granted, some of that, I know he became a dad and different stuff there, but I know he's fighting Paul Craig coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, so he'll be coming up on his 4th fight. So yeah, like for me, eventually to get to that point, I got to rack up a few victories myself. So I got to handle business on my end to be able to make that intriguing. So yeah, but that is one of those guys I definitely would love to fight.
My understanding too, I don't believe he's with your management company anymore. Not that I think that was an issue of that fight happening before, but I think it also makes it easier if you're not under the same banner, I don't think, right?
Yes, it does. I do know, I don't think he's no longer with FRM anymore. So yeah. I don't know who he's with exactly, but yeah,
I believe he's with, I don't know if this is like breaking news or anything. I don't know if it's public, but I believe he's with Tiki is my understanding, the Arsenal group or whatever. So I think he may have switched there. So yeah, maybe down the line, we'll see what happens, right?
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think that'll be a fun matchup on both sides for us. Yeah, I feel really confident against, other wrestlers as well. So I have opportunity to get a chance to wrestle with some high level guys when I go out and cross train. So I would like to see how myself match up with him. And I feel really confident everywhere I on the ground or on the feet with him. So that's definitely a matchup I will look forward to.
Talking about training in Vegas, and I know Trevor's been out there training a bit too. How did it come together with you training at Extreme Couture? I was curious about that.
So, when we go out to Vegas, we're really, we're outgoing. So we just talk, and obviously that's the Extreme Couture, one of the big gyms that majority of guys like navigate to when they come to Vegas. So when we went there, we just started training, and we became good close friends with guys like Strickland and Chris and, Coach Eric Nixon. I mean, he's a phenomenal guy, phenomenal coach. And we had the opportunity to go with all those guys. And it just became an ongoing thing. And so every time I go to Vegas, heck, it's a part of sometimes my camps, like my last two camps. I go there and I train there for a week or two and, get a lot of sparring rounds, get specific looks for whatever I'm about to get ready and compete against. So, yeah, they've been really good help, man. And Eric, and I don't think anybody saw, but like on a broadcast, like as I was walking out the cage, Eric Nixon was right there. I dapped him up and gave him a quick hug because he also helps out with some of the stuff that I try to do as well. He's not big into my coaching or fighting, but when I go out there and train, he gives me some tips, man. And you don't expect a coach like that of that high level and caliber to just give anybody tips that they really don't know that guy that well or training it specifically on their team. But he's a really good guy, man, and always respect the Coach Eric.
Talking about training with Strickland, I know he's not one of these guys that like goes easy on people. So how was that? Because I know it's a different intensity when you get to work with them, and he's a fun guy. He's hilarious, right?
Yeah, Sean Strickland, man, I tell you, he is one of those guys that literally does not hold back. Dude, that guy goes hard. But he has an expectation, man. He has an expectation to be great, and he wants guys to give it everything they got and give it all they got in the training room. So to be able to have a guy like Sean like that, he's one of the captains, man, and he pushes everybody in there. You would think a guy, sometimes you see people once they get to a certain status, they sometimes don't deal with certain people, but he gets some guys, everybody from the lowest pro in the room to the next highest pro in the room, everybody getting it. So, a lot of respect to him. I know a lot of people they see what they see, on camera, which that is him in person, but
yeah,
he's the guy that just straight up, he don't sugarcoat anything. And, if he actually got love for you, he's a really good guy.
What do you got planned the rest of the week? I know you said you're taking a bit of time off. Where are you going on vacation, by the way? Have you figured that out yet or no?
So the plan was to potentially go through Florida, maybe Miami, but
not a good time right now, I don't think. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that won't be the plan. I'll be going to Nashville this week and probably go out to Vegas, do some stuff at the PI, just to chill there and just get some small training, nothing like too hard. And I still got to let my body, 2 fights in the span of 6 weeks, that adds up on a brother, big time. So yeah. I had to body rest just a little bit, but we're going to get back going. So yes, sir.
That's great. Torrez, congrats on the win. Congrats on getting the contract. One of my favorite parts of this job is getting to interview fighters like yourself, because we did it a couple of years ago, and now you're in the UFC, man. It's really cool to see. So if there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yes, sir. First, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me the ability to be able to do what I can do. And yes, I'm very thankful for the people that he's placed in my life, all my friends, my families, my coaches. Man, it was just very phenomenal to have the people to be able to push me to the elevation of what I can possibly do. And yeah, man, this is something I thought about, 4 years ago. And I was like, man, I feel like I can really do this thing. And boy, did I do it. But this is just the beginning, this is just the beginning, and we're on the journey. So yeah, we're going to get ready and go and dominate. It's time to start the journey towards the title. Let's do it.